the first and only defeat of the troops of Alexander the Great's commanders in the entire history of the campaign to the east. The Battle of Polytimta took place in 328 BC and was one of the significant battles during Alexander the Great's campaign in Sogdiana. This battle occurred between Alexander's army and the forces of the Sogdian commander Spitamenes. Already at the age of 15, Tsarevich Alexander, later called the Great, demonstrated the extraordinary abilities of a talented commander. Then he suppressed the revolt of the Thracian tribe of the Medes and founded the city of Alexandropolis in their lands. Tsar Alexander's campaign to the east was also marked by a number of brilliant victories of his army over the troops of the Persian king Darius III. The Battle of Granicus, the Battle of Issus, the Battle of Gaugamela. In 330 BC fell Persepolis, the capital of the vast Persian Empire, and the Achaemenid power ceased to exist. The military glory of the new king of Asia, Iskander the Two-Horned, who had not suffered a single defeat, was so great that he surrendered all the cities without a fight. Nevertheless, there is a curious and little-known historical fact of a serious defeat of a large Greek Macedonian detachment, as a result of which the myth of invincibility of the soldiers of Alexander the Great was dispelled. And also, mortally wounded the painful ego and pride of the young Macedonian king. Alexander ordered his chroniclers and surviving soldiers to keep silent about this humiliating defeat, on pain of death. After the conquest of the Persian Empire, Alexander the Great continued his campaigns eastward, aiming to subjugate the territories of Central Asia. Sogdiana, located in what is now Uzbekistan and Tajikistan, was an important strategic region. Spitamenes, one of the local rulers, led the resistance against the Macedonian conqueror. It is about the Battle of Polytimtus between the armies of the generals Alexander and the Sogdian Spitamen. The Battle of Polytimta took place in 328 BC and was one of the significant battles during Alexander the Great's campaign in Sogdiana. This battle occurred between Alexander's army and the forces of the Sogdian commander Spitamenes. Background: after the conquest of the Persian Empire, Alexander the Great continued his campaigns eastward, aiming to subjugate the territories of Central Asia. Sogdiana, located in what is now Uzbekistan and Tajikistan, was an important strategic region. Spitamenes, one of the local rulers, led the resistance against the Macedonian conqueror. Course of the battle: Alexander, seeking to strengthen his position in Sogdiana, sent his troops to suppress the uprising. Spitamenes, possessing deep knowledge of the terrain and support from the local population, organized a defense. He employed guerrilla tactics, which created significant difficulties for the Macedonian army. The Battle of Polytimta was fierce and bloody. Spitamenes used clever maneuvers to outflank the Macedonians and attack them at vulnerable moments. Although the Macedonian army was well trained and disciplined, it faced challenges in the mountainous terrain and in conditions where the enemy employed tactics of sudden attacks. In 329 BC, Alexander the Great captured Bactria and Sogdiana and continued his campaign to the east. In Sogdiana, however, Spitamen rebelled against Alexander the Great's authority. The Macedonian garrison in Maracanda, Samarkand, the capital of Sogd, was besieged. According to the version of Arrian, Alexander sent to Spitamen his commanders, Andromache, Menedem and Charon, giving them about 60 horsemen, friends, and 800 mercenaries, which were commanded by Charon. Mercenary infantry he gave about 1,500. To them he seconded the interpreter Farnuch, a Lycian by birth. Spidamen chose the tactic of exhausting the enemy with incessant attacks from different sides. In the end, the Greek Macedonian army was surrounded and almost completely destroyed. According to Arrian, saved no more than 40 horsemen and people 300 infantrymen. Alexander cleverly concealed this defeat by threatening those who arrived from the battle site with execution for spreading the news of what had happened. As a result of the battle at Polytimeia, the Macedonian army suffered heavy losses, marking one of the few defeats for Alexander. Spidamenes was able to temporarily halt the Macedonian advance and strengthen his influence in the region. However, despite this defeat, Alexander continued his campaigns, ultimately managing to subjugate Sogdiana. The Battle of Polytimeia served as an important lesson for Alexander, demonstrating that even the strongest armies can encounter serious difficulties, especially when the opponent uses guerrilla tactics and has a good understanding of the terrain. This battle also highlighted the importance of adapting strategies based on the conditions of the battle and the enemy.